Hello, welcome back. It has been a while, I won't lie. If you're new, crazy you stumbled upon this video. If you are not new, I'm so sorry. I have not posted in over a year. Let's just say I was going through it and leave it at that. I don't think I really read, and yeah, but we're back. 2025, I really want to get more into reading and writing because it is what brought me joy, specifically in like 2022, 23, when I was posting. So I thought might as well start off the year and post, even though it's January 19th right now. That's fine. So if you're interested in like books I've read in the past, you can check out my Goodreads, which is going to be linked below. And then if you're interested in any of my writing, I did recently start like uploading some pieces of my writing to Wattpad, just things that I haven't really done anything with in a few years. That's also going to be linked below. So interested in either of those, that's going to be below. Like my other socials are going to be below. But not to take up too much time, let's just get into the purpose of this video, the books of 2024 and what I want to read in 2025. Okay, starting off with 2024, like I said, did not read a lot, like biggest slump of my life. A lot of the books I read were for classes, and to be honest, I really don't want to sit here talking to you about Shakespeare or Greek tragedy. So I'm just going to pick out my favorite books that I read for pleasure in 2024. And I'm going to start off with Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, this book I ended up reading like right after I saw Challengers, probably like 2 weeks later, and I was on like a break from school. And let me just say, I was in my tennis era. The vibes are just like 100% immaculate, like perfect. The other thing I really liked about this book was the just characterization of Carrie Soto. I remember it has like it's not really a cameo because she wasn't a character yet, but she has like a small role in Malibu Rising. Like she shows up for like 2 or 3 scenes maybe. And I remember hating her because when she shows up in that book, it's from Nina's perspective, and you do not like Carrie Soto. And so I never really wanted to read this book when it came out because I was like, I didn't like that character, like whatever. But just the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote this book, it made me like fall in love with her. Like Carrie is very like stubborn, strong-willed, and like wants to just prove to herself that she can do things. And I just really enjoyed that kind of drive, that kind of characterization that drove the plot forward. This book's pretty much about her defending her Grand Slam title of being like the best female tennis player in the world. And so she comes out of retirement and is really trying to continue winning, let's say. At the beginning of the book, I was like, girl, just retire, like the world don't need you. But then like I just think that it was so captivating, and she was written so well that I literally was like, oh my god, girl, I believe in you, let's go, let's do this. And then again, like I was in a tennis era because of Challengers, great movie, and it was just great. The next book that I read in 2024 that I absolutely loved, I finished in 2 days, and that is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Like, Holly Jackson, my queen, I love her. The Reappearance of Rachel Price is pretty much about a woman who went missing, Rachel Price, about 15 years ago maybe, and it's this big national phenomenon, like what happened to Rachel Price, because she just like vanished out of a mall, and then her and her like toddler 2-year-old daughter, well she was never found, but her 2-year-old daughter was found in her car like a couple miles away from the mall, but there's no evidence of them ever leaving the mall. And so it's this big national news story. The book starts with her daughter, who's now like 16, 17, and her family filming this documentary about like what could have happened to her. While they're filming this, Rachel Price shows back up. She has reappeared from her disappearance, and her daughter is kind of skeptical of her. She starts like poking holes in like the story that Rachel tells, and it's just very interesting. And I just love the way Holly Jackson writes mysteries, so highly recommend, absolutely like adored this book. Next, I read a lot of Alice Oseman books. I read Solitaire, Loveless, the 4th or 5th Heartstopper book, whatever the most recent one is, and the novella This Winter. So it was an Alice Oseman year. Apparently, my personal favorite from all of these was actually Loveless, because I really enjoyed the way that it was a new story. Like, I feel like it's related somehow because it is in the Alice Oseman universe, so I'm sure that there's overlapping characters. I just didn't realize we're overlapping, but I really enjoyed this story. So Loveless is about this girl named Georgia, and she's going to her first year in university, and with that kind of starts the struggle of she's not with her two best friends anymore, like constantly, and she is making new friends, but she also has to spend time alone, and she kind of is figuring out who she is, what she likes to do, and like what kind of future she wants. All the big college stuff. And as she spends more time with new people and starts to like realize things about herself, because she's like, I haven't done this yet, and I haven't done this yet, and everybody's talking about how they did this when they were like 16, and like here I am, I haven't had my first kiss yet, like all of these things. She ends up discovering about herself that she is asexual, and I just thought that her whole journey was just really well written. I listened to the audiobook for this, so I also like applaud the audiobook actress, I guess, because it was like phenomenal. I absolutely ate this book up, and no notes. Okay, now I want to move on to my 2025 TBR, because I'm trying not to be like overly ambitious with it. I think there's like 13 or 14 books on this list, even though I did set my Goodreads goal to 50 books, so crossing our fingers, hope that happens. But I thought might as well set the bar low, and hopefully we can hit it. We're gonna start with all of the books that I currently have in my dorm, which are only 3, and one of them I borrowed from a friend. So this is going to be the year of either library or ebooks, because I just didn't want a lot of like, I don't want to say clutter, but it made me really sad last year when I had like 8 books on my shelf and like I never read them. So these are the lucky winners. Ironically, they're all like black red, similar vibe. Yeah, I think this is a cute vibe. So we're just gonna quickly go through these because they are everything on my current shelf, like physical books that I have. The first book is actually my current read, which is The Women by Kristen Hanna. Yeah, Kristen. For a second, I thought it was Kirsten. By Kristen Hanna. And I've never read any of her books. I know The Nightingale and then I think it's Four Winds are really popular, and they get a lot of hype just in like the book space. And so when my friend gave me this and she was like, read. She was like, I just finished this. It changed my life. This was amazing. I was like, okay, sure. I think I'm on chapter 4 right now. And so only the beginning stuff has happened, but pretty much The Women is about the Vietnam War and all of the kind of unheard voices and stories from that war, because women, although they were there, they were serving as like nurses and things like that, they don't get credit and they don't kind of get acknowledged as being war heroes, you know? Our main character, Frankie, comes from this like wealthy family, and she's expected to become a nurse and then get married, and her older brother is expected to go serve in the war and then like take over the family real estate business, because this family really prides themselves in like military service and like stepping up for their country, right? And so our main character, she's like, wait, there are nurses serving in Vietnam. Why don't I go and hang out with my brother and help and serve like my family has instilled in me? So she ends up enlisting in the army and going to Vietnam. And again, I'm only 4 chapters in, but I am liking it so far, so I'm very excited for this. Is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I've almost read this book. Like, I even have a bookmark in there, not even like bookmarking anything, it's literally on the title page, because I've picked up this book so many times being like, oh, I'm gonna read it. I think I bought it like 5 years ago when it was going crazy on Book Talk. Like, I don't even think I was in college yet when I bought this book, and I'm about to graduate. That's how crazy it is that I haven't read this book. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, from my understanding, is about Addie LaRue, this girl who has like immortality. She can live forever, be young forever. But the problem that comes along with that is that like no one can remember her. Like, they'll have interactions, and then the second she leaves, they won't remember she exists. So she lives an invisible life. And then one day she meets someone who does remember her. no, that sounds lovely. And everybody that's read this book is like, it's amazing. I don't know, maybe 2025 is my year. I really, really want to read this. And yeah. Now this last one is called Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know anything about this book. So pretty much what I know about this is it's an all-girls boarding school in the like 1902. Yep, that's when it happens. And there's this one girl that ends up getting murdered by a swarm of bees. And there's like this whole mystery surrounding it and all the people in it. And then it goes back and forth between 1902 and present day when there's a movie about this girl's death. And so you're going back and forth between the like actors in Hollywood that are going to be portraying this story and the actual story of it happening. So that's really cool. Also was recommended to me by a friend only last year though. And I bought it immediately and I just haven't read it. And I don't know why, because it looks really cool. Like it's very beautiful. But yeah, I haven't sat down and read it, even though it has a really cool plot. The rest of the books that are on my TBR are all going to be digital or like an audiobook, ebook, just because I don't physically have them here. All of these I'm pretty sure, some of these I don't, but most of these I do own. I just don't have the books with me, and so again, I didn't want to overestimate my ability to read. Coming in first as a book I literally need to read this year is Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Now, The Naturals really popped off in 2024, the whole series. I read the original The Naturals, the like first book, back in 2022, I think, and I loved it. Like I ate it up, but then I just didn't read the next one and I didn't read the series. And then I saw it like going viral this year being like, oh, great series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I was like, why didn't I ever finish it? So like, please, 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 I really, really want to finish this series this year. If you know nothing about The Naturals, it's pretty much a YA book, well, YA book series. And it's about these children who are like recruited by the FBI to solve cases. There's profilers, there's a human lie detector, someone who's really good at statistics, and somebody that's like good at reading emotions. And like, it's just really cool. Like there's this group of teenagers and they're helping solve FBI cases or FBI cold cases. And it's kind of giving Criminal Minds if they were all 16. So the next book is actually a memoir that I actually started. I read the first chapter and I loved it. I just forgot it at home. So that's going to be Educated by Tara Westover. I'm going to read you the little blurb about it, but it's a memoir where Westover recounts overcoming her survivalist Mormon family in order to go to college and emphasizes the importance of education in enlarging her world. So it's pretty much, yeah, it's about education and how like once you become educated and you kind of learn critical thinking skills and the ability to kind of come to your own conclusions and hold your own opinions on things, how that really helps you break out of like fear-controlled spaces. I was gifted this when I graduated high school, and this year I was like, why don't I pick it up and read it? I haven't read a memoir in a while, and I'm so excited to like get back into it because the first chapter was really good. Up next is a classic because I was like, I want to read a classic, and that's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The other reason I really want to read this year is because there is a book. No, there's not. There is a movie adaptation coming out, and I know that they casted Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, and the internet went crazy, and they were like, that's not good casting. And I was like, is it? Is it not? And so like, I really wanted to get into this and read this book. I don't know what it's about, but does anyone know what it's about? It's a classic, like, gotta read it. The next four books actually show this like really bad problem I have with longer series. Anytime I start a book series that's like 7 books long, I cannot finish it, and I always stop after the 6th book. Like it's always the last 2 books that I cannot read. And so this year I'm like, why don't I just finish up these 2 series that have literally been like on my mind? And that is the Throne of Glass series. I have Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash left to read, so the last 2 books. And then the Addicted to You Calloway Sisters books, I have Long Way Down and Some Kind of Perfect, that I was eating up these series, and I was like reading the book so quickly, and then I got to the last two books and I was like, eh. Both of these series I want to get through. Throne of Glass is pretty much about this assassin in a fantasy world, and she gets pulled into the king's like game of assassins. He like gets all of the like most ruthless criminals out of prison, and Hunger Games styles it out until he has one person standing, and that person's going to be like his own personal assassin, and in return they get their freedom from prison. And there's magic, and the series goes on for a really long time. Yeah, that's what's up in that series. In Addicted to You Calloway Sisters, those are two separate series. I finished the Addicted to You series, so these last two books are specifically in the Calloway Sisters universe. They're sisters, there's 3 of them. There's technically 4, but one of them doesn't have any books. There's 3 of them, Lily, Rose, and Daisy, and they're just like romance books about their love lives, but also like their highly publicized lives. There's a lot of talk about like being a celebrity, but like also like what the public is and isn't like entitled to as like a fan. It's giving like Keeping Up with the Kardashian vibes, because like they didn't really do anything to get famous. They just were rich people, and suddenly everybody cares about everything that goes on in their lives. So yeah, gotta finish those last 2 books, because why did I stop? Up next is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, which is the only Holly Jackson book I have not read. And like I said, I really loved the reappearance of Rachel Price, and so like I don't know why I haven't read this one yet. 5 Survive is about this road trip, and from my understanding, it's about this teenager and her friends, and they all go on this road trip together. So their wheels are shot out from their car, and one by one the friends realize that it's not an accident. There's a sniper out in the dark watching them, and he knows exactly who they are. One of the group has a secret that the sniper is willing to kill for, and it's like a game of cat and mouse is what the description says. So yeah, they're like getting hunted, and only 5 survive. There are 6 people on this trip, only 5 survive. And so like I'm like, I don't know why I didn't read this. I just really want to, because again, like literally Queen Holly Jackson, why am I not reading this? The next 2 are both, or the last 2 I guess on my list are both upcoming releases that I hope to acquire and hopefully read this year. And that is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is another prequel to the Hunger Games, but it's about Haymitch. And so like, yes, like give me it please. And then the other book is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I actually am so excited for. And I think it's just because like I wasn't that excited for Carrie Soto is back, because I was like, oh, I don't really like tennis, and then like I ate that book up. So this book, when I was like, oh, I'm not really into like space, I'm like, I don't care, like it's gonna be amazing. It's about this woman named Joan Goodwin, and she's been obsessed with like stars and astronomy for like ever. She ends up becoming one of like the first female scientists to join NASA's like space program, and like and so she gets chosen to like go to space, and I just think that that's so cool. And I don't know, I'm so excited because Taylor Jenkins Reid can just write beautifully. And that is all. That is my TBR for 2025, and a little quick recap of 2024 because I was not here at all. But I'm hoping 2025 is my year. I hope that I not only that I'm more like active with reading and writing, but also I'm more active here because I do like posting videos, and I just didn't have time. But now I feel freer, I say. Hopefully I become more consistent and subscribe, like whatever, and stay around for whatever books I read this year. And if you did make it this far in the video and you want to drop below like what books you're excited about in 2025, maybe I'll add more to my TBR, because like I said, I hope to read 50 books, but I put 13 on my TBR. So there's room for growth in this TBR if you do have any books that you think, oh, I think you'll like this. I'm gonna go and read The Women by Kristen Hanna right now, because like I'm actually like, I'm only 4 chapters in, but I'm already hooked. So I'm gonna go read that, and I hope everyone has a lovely day. I will see you next time. Bye.